Good evening, everyone. This is Mike O'Malley here with a tropical weather update recorded on June 21st, 2023, recorded on 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In tonight's video, we are covering Tropical Storm Bret, as Bret now is intensifying into a strong tropical storm. We have new tropical storm warnings that have been issued. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into everything. Looking at Tropical Storm Bret this evening, we notice a storm that has become better defined from this morning. For starters, we have deeper convection that has developed near the low-level center of circulation, right over top of it actually, during the last couple of hours. And in fact, you can actually see here a pretty good feeder band of convection from south to north kind of getting ready to wrap around this thing. Now, most of the convection is still favored off towards the east because of some mid-level shear. However, we definitely notice a storm that has intensified during the course of today, and this has led the Hurricane Center to now upping maximum sustained winds to 65 miles per hour. Looking at the latest reconnaissance mission that just finished up not too long ago, you notice the strong belt of wind on the northern side of the circulation. All of the strongest winds are confined off towards the north of the circulation, and that's kind of what we had expected and talked about over the last couple of days, is that these winds on the northern side are going to be enhanced by the trade winds and the storm's motion off towards the west. That means the northern side here is going to be the strongest. Right now we've got a pressure of about 1,000 to 1,001 millibars. It is fluctuating from time to time as convective bursts continue, but notice the tropical storm force winds extend out fairly far on the southeast and northern side of the circulation, with fairly weak southerly and westerly winds here on the southern side of the circulation. So not much on the southern side, meaning that for places like Trinidad and Tobago, the threat for tropical storm force winds is low. However, you guys could still see some rain bands from time to time, but the northern side, as we're going to talk about here in a minute for who's impacted, could definitely pack a quite substantial punch. So here is a current track forecast. This is the 5 p.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Sustained winds now increase to 65 miles per hour with a pressure of 1,000 millibars, moving to the west at 15 miles per hour. The storm is expected to maintain intensity, and it could strengthen a little bit to near 70 miles per hour during the next 12 to 24 hours. However, by the time it gets to the island chain, this is when it is expected to weaken quite substantially, and by Saturday, this is expected to be a remnant low as this begins to degenerate from strong vertical shear in the Caribbean. Look at the watch warning map. We do have a new tropical storm warning that has been issued for the island of Martinique, and there's also a tropical storm warning for the island of St. Lucia as well. A tropical storm watch for Barbados and a tropical storm watch all the way up to near Guadeloupe. So this storm is expected to continue on this westerly trajectory, passing near or just to the north of Barbados, moving into St. Lucia and Martinique as well, and then continuing to the Caribbean, where it will weaken from there. The overall threat level from this storm is a 5 out of 10, mainly for St. Lucia, Martinique, and Guadeloupe, and portions of Barbados as well, as the storm will be packing quite a punch with some heavier rainfall producing some flash flooding and some dangerous winds to be caught outside in as well. So taking a look here at the model forecast again for the intensity, the storm still does have at least another 12 to 24 hours with light upper level shear, but decently strong mid-level shear. And so these two competing factors will help to kind of counteract the favorable environment that the storm currently finds itself within. However, as shown by the HFAS system, the replacement to the GFS and the HWRF and HMON hurricane models, the storm could still intensify on approach into the island chain before then getting caught up in these westerly winds here in the Caribbean. And then as it does so on Friday, Friday into Saturday, the overall circulation begins to really deplete. It begins to lose its energy. And as it does so, it degenerates into an open tropical wave and then moves harmlessly here into Central America. And let's go ahead and look at those tracks right now. So again, just kind of looking at the multimodal ensemble probability, it is becoming in better agreement that the storm is going to make its way into Central America, just bringing some leftover rain and potentially some gusty winds from time to time. This will not be a tropical system, but it could still bring some heavier rainfall, mudslides in the higher elevations, and some gustier winds, maybe to 35 miles per hour or so, depending on the structure of the storm as it nears and approaches Central America. But by all accounts here, this is expected to pass just to the north of Barbados. The exact track kind of depends. It's going to kind of just wobble around, so we'll have to kind of wait and see. But generally pass just to the north of Barbados and then make that bend to the south and west as the storm weakens and follows the low-level trades then into Central America. Again, just bringing with it some heavier rainfall and some gustier winds from time to time. And at this point, I do not see any threat to Jamaica or really any part of Hispaniola, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. Still could see some heavier rain towards the USVI, up towards the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and portions of Cuba. But overall, it is going to be a pretty tempered threat for sure. And then we'll watch as the storm just kind of meanders and weakens as it heads off towards Central America. So looking at the overall GFS forecast here, this is the island chain right here. It's hard to see here because the overlays don't exactly work with non-United States countries, or territories, which sucks. But anyway, this is the GFS wind gust forecast and mean sea level pressure overlaid here. We'll continue to run this forward as we progress throughout the next day or so. As this approaches the island chain, we're looking at the potential for some 50-mile-per-hour winds, maybe even gusting up towards 65 or 70 miles per hour in places like St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, with the potential for some 40 to 45 mile per hour winds up towards Guadeloupe. And as you start to get to the northern part of the island chain, up towards St. John's, Antigua, and Barbuda, you're looking anywhere between 35 to 25 miles per hour respectively as you start to get off towards the north. And then as you progress throughout the next several days, that wind field will begin to weaken. The GFS does have some stronger winds, potentially making it closer towards the coast of Puerto Rico as well, with some 25 to 30 mile per hour winds before this degenerates into a tropical wave. Again, heavy rainfall, that's going to be a big key as well. You're looking at between roughly about 3 to 6 inches of rainfall. This is going to be a pretty fast-moving storm, so rain really won't be a huge issue, but could still cause some flash flooding at times, especially with some of the heavier convective bands that roll through. So with that being said, it is a fairly busy start for the month of June as we begin to close it out with the last about 9 to 10 days left of June. Watching these 3 tropical systems in the Atlantic Basin with a new tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa today. We'll have to see what the models say on that over the next few days. And of course, watching Invest Area 93L today generating a convective blowup as we head into the evening time over there. All right. So that being said, have a great rest of your evening, everyone. God bless. Take care. Of course, I am Michael O'Malley. I'll talk to you guys again some more tomorrow.